Custom sportswear and workwear by Baru Sports in Ennis and Shannon. From clubs and schools to local businesses, we design quality gear that looks sharp and lasts. Baru Sports Ennis and Shannon, custom made for your team, your work, your game. Call us now on 061 364 750.
What a difference a fortnight makes. 2 weeks ago we were in a very wet and windy Pearse Stadium for the preliminary quarter-finals, where Dunmore MacHales just about got through against Navanna Letchermore after extra time. But here we are in Tuam Stadium in glorious sunshine, perfect playing conditions for a clash that really brings back memories of the good old days of the 90s and early noughties when Dunmore MacHales and Corofin were doing battle. It's the first championship meeting between the two old rivals since 2002. Since then, both clubs have gone on very different journeys, with Corofin dominating the club landscape in Galway football and Dunmore MacHales only recently in the last 2 years getting back up from intermediate. Kevin Dwyer joins me. You've seen both of these sides during the course of the championship. The Dunmore people are coming here with a little bit of hope and expectation against a Corofin team that really have been just imperious standard bearers for years. Do you give Dunmore any hope?
Well, it's it's on the day, really. Anything can happen. You'd have to say that Corofin have been, hot and cold at times. Milltown certainly showed that, they are a team that mightn't function at its highest level at all times. And unless they produce their A game today, if they don't do that, then there's certainly a chance for Dunmore.
So what you're saying in essence is that Corofin have tended to perfect the ability to time their run to peak at county final time. So is this the best time for Dunmore MacHales to have a rattle at Corofin?
Well, it probably is, yeah. And particularly with what happened the last day with Dunmore, they'll have learned an awful lot from that. And no doubt there will be, a whole pile of remedies that they will be having put together so that it doesn't happen against Corofin. If that had happened against Corofin, you couldn't imagine that there would have been any way back for them. But what they have always shown since they've been promoted is this great character. And, they're difficult to beat. They are difficult to beat. And they're a team that will fight right to the nth degree for one another. So from that point of view, this could be a game that would be a lot closer than people would imagine.
Maybe another reason for that would be the conditions we have today, because it's not going to be the quintessential game of two halves. 2 pointers are very doable at both ends of the field here today, and they might have a big bearing on the game, will they? Yeah,
well, I was remarking, to some Dunmore people that have travelled up to Tuam here for the match. Conor Gleeson could be, one of Dunmore's higher scorers from the point of view that, we saw him here kick 2 pointers and single points for 45s. So from that point of view, if they get the opportunities to kick those, they'll take them. And they could be crucial scores when it comes down to the final score.
I'd imagine for Dunmore MacHales it will be a case of trying to keep this game tight and as competitive for as long as possible. But the bookies have Corofin as unbackable favourites, and that is understandable. We're getting underway at 3 o'clock with Dunmore MacHales and Corofin.
Custom sportswear and workwear by Baru Sports in Ennis and Shannon. From club
decision this weekend, the meeting of Dunmore MacHales and Corofin. We're just a matter of minutes away from getting underway here in Tuam Stadium. Already through to the semi-finals are Moycullen after their victory over Oughterard yesterday, and coming up later on this afternoon, we've got Tuam Stars and Killannon at 4:15, and Salthill, Knocknacarra and St James's at 4:30. So at around about 6 o'clock we will have the draw for the semi-finals, and we'll have a much clearer picture as to the 4 sides that will be left in the race for the Frank Fox for 2025. Let's have a look at both teams then in what is a first championship meeting of Corofin and Dunmore MacHales since 2002. We start with Corofin, who were victorious on that occasion. Their goalkeeper, Bernard Power, has plenty of experience with club and county, as has 2/3 of the Corofin full back line, with Carl Silk and Liam Silk either side of young Conor Carson. Another very impressive county standard half back line for all-conquering Corofin, with Dylan McHugh and Kieran Malloy flanking the strong centre-back in Conor Cunningham. Midfield is Kieran Brady and the returning Patrick Egan. And up front, former All-Star Ian Burke in the half-forward line alongside Gavin Burke and Jason Leonard, and an inside line of Dara Silk, Micheál Lundy and Jack McCabe. All in all, an irresistible-looking Corofin team managed by their former player Gary Delaney, who incidentally had been in charge of Dunmore MacHales for the last couple of seasons, including their victory in the county and provincial intermediate championship. Mentioning Dunmore MacHales, let's have a look at their lineup as they prepare for the second successive year for an appearance in the quarterfinals of the championship. Last year they were beaten by Salthill Knocknacarra at this very venue. It seems like a step up in class this year though, as they take on the defending champions in 3 in a row seeking Corofin. Now there is one late change to the Dunmore team, and that's because in the full back line, number 29, Danny Ford, has just been declared unfit to start. He had a pretty rigorous pre-match warm-up and fitness test, but that was deemed that he wasn't fit to start. So his place is taken by number 12, Rory Walken, alongside Colin Comer and Colin Lyons. County goalkeeper Conor Gleeson will be hoping to keep his net intact, having conceded 4 in the first half against Nevana Letchermore in the last round 2 weeks ago. Matthew Reddington has been Dunmore's best player for the last 2 championship fixtures, and he again will have to have a big game at centre-back. At midfield, Thomas Leeson and Jake Slattery will be hoping to keep tabs on their more vaunted opposite pairing. And up front, Jack Jordan, who made the team of the week for his performance against Nevana Letchermore, is joined by Shane McGrath and Brendan Carr, and an inside line of the Costello brothers, Porrick and Cullum, and Porrick Martin, a young up-and-coming Dunmore team who many feel could really put it up to Corofin today. Our match referee is Christopher Ryan, whose club Killannon will be in action later on this afternoon against Tuam Stars in the championship. But Christopher, of course, at county level as well, is a very experienced referee. His sideline officials will be Jerry Daly and Paddy O'Griefa, joined out there in the centre of the field by Football Board Secretary Porrick Dandy Kelly of Killarearn, who will be helping out with the draw for the championship semi-finals after this game is concluded. A little clap of hands between county teammates Kieran Malloy and Conor Gleeson, but it's all heads down, all focus ahead of a first meeting of these sides in over 2 decades. Kevin Dwyer joins me on co-commentary, and there certainly was a time, Kevin, when these two sides meeting with great regularity in the late 90s and early 90s drew massive crowds to Tuam Stadium. It was probably the biggest club rivalry in the country.
It was at the time indeed, and I remember it specifically. And there'd be, thousands of people here in Tuam Stadium for those particular games, and the passions would be running high, Oliver. Just noticed there that Christopher Ryan has left the pitch. I don't know whether he parked his car illegally or something. Had happened here for a referee one day where they were calling out the number of the car, and the culprit was the referee.
In the middle of the field?
In the middle of the field.
Well, surely he should be given special dispensation.
Special dispensation to bring the car inside. But no, he has left the...
Changed jerseys,
I think it's his jersey was the problem, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone from the All Blacks to his red top. Of course, as a county official, he'd, I'm sure, have a few different options of jerseys to try and avoid a clash with Dunmore, who are predominantly all black with the green shoulders today, so a slight different change of colour for Dunmore, and that's because Corofin have got green in their jerseys as well. So all credit to Dunmore for making that change. So in the middle of the field, Shane McGrath is going to contest the throw-in with Kieran Brady, and we're all set. Corofin, heavy favourites, Kevin, but a little bit of expectation in Dunmore that they might just put it up to them.
Corofin team that have brought in a number of changes, Bernard Powers coming in, Burke, Patrick Egan. It doesn't express a lot of confidence in what got them there so far.
Ball is thrown in, goes over both midfielders, and let's see where the breaking ball lands. It lands with Dunmore conceding a free. The man going in there illegally with the boot is Shane Mitchell, and so a free to Corofin, and underway they get with Kieran Malloy. Corofin playing from left to right as we look at it on our live stream score broadcast, wherever you are around the country, around the world, enjoying this clash. Big crowd still steadily coming in to Tuam Stadium on what is just a ridiculously beautiful day. What a difference in a fortnight from the heavy wind and rain in Tuam Stadium and Pearse Stadium 2 weeks ago, which really spoiled all of the preliminary quarter-finals of spectacles. But here it is very much a touch of the summer as Corofin attack the scoreboard in, look to try and get the first shot. Good tackling from Shane McGrath, putting pressure on, but illegally so. heads in the hands from McGrath, who's just a bit too anxious, and now he's conceded a free outside the 2-point arc, and it will be an early opportunity for Jason Leonard. And if there is a breeze, all we can go on are the flags above the scoreboard here in Tuam Stadium, and as you can see on your pictures, with the maroon and white Galway flag and the tricolour both blowing steadily towards the scoreboard end. So with a breeze,
I think Kieran Malloy is actually going to take this.
Unusual, because Leonard is one of the most prolific free takers in the club game, but Malloy is going to try this one off the deck for 2 points. You'll see both referees' arms in the air. If this one goes between the posts, he strikes it well, but out to the left-hand side. And I don't know about that experiment from Corofin, giving an early free to Kieran Malloy, with a guy like Jason Leonard being able to kick frees off the hands with the wind behind him.
Being here in Tuam Stadium yesterday, Gary Higgins hit 2 of those over the bar, so to give you an idea, they are actually kickable because the breeze was much the same blowing towards the scoreboard end.
Having said that, it really isn't a factor today, because if you could play in the heavy wind and rain we had in Pearse Stadium 2 weeks ago, you could certainly play in conditions as benign as these. Dunmore taking their time, working it from a short kick out from Conor Gleeson out through the full back line. Jack Jordan offering himself up to be able to play the ball back to Rory Walken, a late introduction, and then plays a nice ball over the top, but really behind, although good strength being shown here as Dunmore launched through Jake Slattery, but in the end, a bit of a rushed shot out to the right hand side and wide. And I'm sure there'll be early nerves from Dunmore,
that's a sign of it, I think, there, yeah. You know, he got the ball, he was coming in on side of the arc, it was 2-pointer opportunity. Was he going to have a go? He decided yes, but it was fly kicked off the boot out to the right. This kick out will be important.
Bernard Power goes low and left for Liam Silk, and then can play it back inside to Conor Cunningham. Corofin now can launch an attack from inside their own 20-metre line. Of course, possession very much seen as the key part of modern day football, but not always easy for the goalkeeper to get the short kick-outs away when teams put on a full squeeze. Dunmore launching in, another foul by Shane McGrath. The referee blows it back. This time it's going to be between the 45 and the 65. Taken quickly, Conor Cunningham plays a little 1-2 in the centre of the field with Kieran Brady. Slow build-up from Corofin. Opening minutes, a lot of shadow boxing going on. Cathal Silk makes himself available on the right-hand flank, so too coming up on the right-hand side for Corofin is Gavin Burke. To play it through, but Dunmore having plenty of numbers back there, and Jack Jordan now trying to wriggle his way out of trouble. Has to play a couple of dainty hand passes. Shane McGrath, though, beaten to it, well dispossessed. Should be a goal on for Corofin. Conor Gleeson tries to get there. An amazing save on the goal line, and that is an unbelievable bit of defending right on the goal line as the ball trickled past Conor Gleeson. Still hasn't been cleared completely. Corofin could still get a point out of it, and do. It's up and over the bar from Micheál Lundy. But
Ups and schools to local businesses, we design quality gear that looks sharp and lasts.
Soccer style lunged at the
Peru Sports, Ennis and Shannon.
And Brendan Carr saving a certain goal, but Dunmore couldn't manage to clear their lines. There's the 2 players down injured on that kick out, having collided. But what an opportunity that was. Micheál Lundy with the point for Corofin in the follow-up, when Dunmore just made a bit of a hash out of, again, trying to clear their lines. It was Shane McGrath who was dispossessed originally, with a strong tackle.
They were a bit pedantic, and have been, with the 2 balls that they've won back there in the back line. They need to move it a little bit faster to get out of trouble, get out of that danger area. They were a bit pedantic, and they got caught, and the ball was overturned. Gleeson got a great hand on the ball to stop it in the first place, and there was fantastic work by Brendan Carr to get back and clear it off the line. But unfortunately, they didn't clear the ball completely, and Lundy was on hand to put it over the bar. First blood for Corofin, but a warning to Dunmore: you can't be complacent. You have to up your pace, up the game. Move the ball as fast as you possibly can against Corofin.
Well, anybody or any team attempting to try and pass their way through the Corofin offence, just 7 or 8 metres from your own goal line, you are asking for trouble, and that was the case in that instance with Dunmore, who might have been better pressed to move the ball out towards the sideline and get it out of the danger zone. But again, you're going to get a little bit of inexperience still with this Dunmore MacHales team. Still finding their feet and ensuring that they become well established as a senior team. All Dunmore MacHales now being spoken about the breach. I'm sure the breach is at the other end, however. There's only 2 Dunmore MacHales, and now Jack Jordan is going back. But still, Dunmore MacHales only have 2 players forward, so there's clearly some sort of communications breakdown there.
There's still a breach.
And continues. So down to our left-hand side.
The player
the player
off
was
the far
off the
side.
pitch. So what happened was Pádraig Costello had gone off for treatment, and Dunmore hadn't retreated a player in his place.
Yeah,
so
that was punishment.
a big punishment for Pádraig Costello
2
going
points.
off.
2-point chance here.
And now it could cost Dunmore 2 points. Communication so important, understanding so important, and here it is, the free from Jason Leonard, which is high and unerringly accurate, but up and over the bar, 2-pointer. And it really was bizarre that Corofin didn't give that opening free to Jason Leonard, kicking from just outside the 2-point arc on what would have been a side to suit a right-footed kicker. But that was an error from Dunmore on the sideline, not retreating a player when Pádraig Costello had to go off.
Yeah, that was very, very unfortunate for them. You know, costly again. You know, the first 2-3 points now that they've conceded have been really through, you know, unforced errors.
Great catch in the middle of the field from Shane McGrath. Now he's fouled, attempted the solo and goal. Couple of calls maybe for the free to be brought forward, but referee says no. Matthew Reddington now driving forward. Dunmore need to be careful here as Corofin start to open up an early lead. 3 points to 0. I don't want to let it get much bigger. Pádraig Costello coming through. Also Thomas Gleeson on the loop. There's Colm Costello. Looks like Pádraig outside him. One wonders if that breeze is somehow stopping Dunmore from attempting a 2-point shot at the town end. Costello dummies past Liam Silk like he wasn't there, and then off the left should be kicking a score, but it's across the face of the goal and wide. An opportunity gone a begging. Promising work from Dunmore, a little bit better, and their first meaningful attack.
Yeah, and if the ball had dropped a little bit shorter there was no doubt about it. There was an opportunity for Pádraig Martin. He was trying to get in at the end of it to tip it into the back of the net. Didn't happen, but a promising attack. Just, you know, pity that it just tailed off to the right and wide.
So Corofin remain in front, 3 points to no score. And it is their goalkeeper, Bernard Power, who takes the kick out to the middle of the field. Fist down from Jake Slattery, but only to the waiting arms of Corofin's Dylan McHugh. He'll throw it back to Patrick Egan, and they could start again. Big welcome to all our Galway FM listeners as well for the early stages of this senior football quarter-final. Many hoping for a tight and entertaining contest between Corofin and Dunmore MacHales. Well, coming up on 9 minutes gone, little over. It's Corofin who started the better. They've had 2 shots successful, and they've got 3 points for them. Dunmore breach of the 3-up rule, which allowed Jason Leonard kick a 2-point free following an opening score from Micheál Lundy. Now here's a little backdoor cut move from Corofin, trying to get the ball inside towards the marauding run of Conor Carson, but out the field it comes, and it's slotted over the bar. Leonard with the score, and Corofin make it 4-0. And more worryingly, Dunmore now will have to get a bit of attention in there for Matthew Reddington, who's feeling the after effects of a collision in the build up to that score.
And Christopher Ryan was right there where it happened, so there was nothing untoward in it, so obviously it was just a clash. And Christopher Ryan is now insisting that he go off for treatment, and that's what's going to happen. So again, this is what happened when they gave away the 2-pointer. Man was off the field for treatment, and they were caught with a breach.
Well, that was probably because it was the full forward that went off, so that's really where modern day managers and coaches have to be so tuned in. If a player has to go off for any reason. Problem here for Dunmore is that they're going to have to play without Matthew Reddington, who was genuinely injured. Now he should be able to go back in, but to not be able to have that player, and he has to come back to the middle of the field, so it's almost a punishment for a player getting injured, having to take him off and not allow him back in until our next break in play. There's a long ball in over the top that is shepherded out wide by Conor Gleeson, but of course we see it in other codes as well, but it does seem a bit daft that if a player gets injured,
not a good rule, is it?
he has to go to the sideline, and he can't go back on until the next break.
Has to come to the halfway line to get back in. One of the things I'm just concerned about from a Dunmore point of view, from the halfway dotted line to the 45, there's conceding a lot of space there. And if you give Corofin space in that area, they will pick out passes like that attempted pass there by Ian Burke, and they'll punish you for it. So they need to be closing down in that area much quicker.
Well, of course, that's an absolutely amazing kick out from Conor Gleeson. What an absolute
peach
into the breadbasket of the Dunmore defender, running onto it at pace. Beautiful bit of play to Jake Slattery, who peeled off to the wing back position. Jake, of course, starting midfield with Thomas Gleeson. But talk about pinpoint accuracy, and this has led now to this attack. Matthew Reddington seems to have recovered. He's on the ball. Dunmore, though, very slow. Back to Slattery. Jake flicks it across into the middle of the field, looking for Brendan Carr, who had that amazing sliding tackle on the goal line to stop Corofin getting a goal in the early stages of this game. Another high hand pass in towards Colin Costello, but it luckily breaks for Jack Jordan coming in along the inline. Has he got anybody outside him? Goes across, an opportunity, but again just bottled up. Still Dunmore trying to work it in, and it's Shane McGrath who's just bottled up back there by too many players. There just really wasn't the space in there to get a hand pass in and get a kick of the ball. But promising work from Dunmore, but just really ran out of road, Kevin.
Yeah, ran out of space. I counted 9 Corofin defenders, Ali, back there in that area. And that's inside a small parallelogram.
Yeah, the opportunity really, once the ball was taken in hand from the original pass, it was always going to be a case of defenders on top. Ball played across from Jack Jordan to Pádraig Martin. So the only hope Dunmore had of getting a goal there was Pádraig Martin just fly kicking it or handballing it into the net from the Jack Jordan pass.
It had to be an instant move, really. Collecting it in the hand, you know, you just got smothered up. There was, as I said, 9 players in there, including the goalie. So I do notice that Bernard Power is wearing a baseball hat, and the sun is coming from the right-hand side. So I'm just wondering if there's a concern there about high balls coming in on that particular goal.
Well, not just Bernard Power, but the 2 umpires as well are shielding their eyes and using baseball caps at that end. Corofin might get a breaking ball here, unbeknownst to them, but it's worked out for Patrick Egan. A little flick over the head, he's pulled back. It'll be a tap over point for Corofin, and just things are slowly but surely going pear-shaped for Dunmore here. They're just not really getting to grips. Corofin aren't exactly in 5th gear, but they're doing enough. And again, a ball that just spilled forward. Patrick Egan showing the greater hunger and intent to get it.
That tenaciousness, that's what it's about, isn't it? They have that tenacity. The ball spilled forward. Lundy was in there. He was looking for it. The hands were going up, you know. Patrick Egan was in there. He was looking for it. So they have that tenaciousness, and it's certainly shown for them.
5-0 now to Corofin. And as we reach the end of the first quarter, the game is taking on a sense of inevitability. And right now, in the interests of making it a competition and giving a bit of a surge of life to the Dunmore MacHales supporters, who are here in huge numbers in Tuam Stadium to support this team. They really are probably the best supported team in the championship since Dunmore got back up to senior. But they need a score. They need something to shout about, Kevin.
They certainly do, yeah. And, you know, they've been unfortunate, really, in the couple of early scores that they conceded. The 3 points that they conceded, you know, were unforced errors. But, you know, having gotten a couple of attacks, they've had 2 wides. And really, you know, that smothered shot around the goal. They haven't been able to open up a Corofin defence that packs back very, very quickly, tracks back very, very quickly, and, you know, closes all the space on you. You can see that every time that Dunmore man has the ball, 3 or 4 Corofin men around him.
Now here's the lightning quick counter-attack, and this is where Dunmore are in big trouble. Long ball from Liam Selt to Ian Burke. Looked like Conor Cunningham was taken out of it, or Micheál Lundy it was, and the run on the blind side. I'm not so sure the referee should have blown it up there. I mean, it would have been very easy to have just given an advantage, but now the fact that he stopped the game and he's talking to Colin Lyons, it's going to be a yellow card to the Dunmore corner back, and a free that I'm sure Jason Leonard will be licking his lips at, with the opportunity to put this one over the bar.
Yeah, but Colin Lyons there took the man off the ball, without the ball. So, you know, there was a time when that would have been a black card, Ollie. So, you know, yellow card, he'd take that and put it in his back pocket and say, okay, I'll have to be more careful.
So here's the free from Jason Leonard. Remember, Corofin are playing with breeze advantage in the first half, but it's not hugely significant or impactful. And no problems there for Jason Leonard to tap it over the bar. Makes it 6 points to no score. And as every minute goes by, and we're now coming up in the 17th minute, you do worry for Dunmore MacHales that this game is slowly but surely death by 1,000 cuts. It's just slipping away from them.
Yeah, you know, usually if Corofin get 4 to 5 points ahead of you, they then start to manage the game a little bit, and it's very, very difficult to get it back on them.
Colin Lyons taking a couple of touches, making sure he wasn't going to touch that ball on the ground, but again, Dunmore are just making basic errors now, being put under pressure. Lyons going for a 1-2. Kieran Malloy turns it over. Quick little flick back now, looking for Dara Silk. And before you know it, Corofin are back on the attack again, and they smell blood right now. Patrick Egan coming forward, back to Dylan McHugh. They are surging forward now, looking for a score. A goal at this stage would probably put the game out of bed.
Yeah, that's the big danger, and you know, the pace that they are now playing at is a step higher than what Dunmore have reached in the game so far.
No foul there, great defending. Ball turned over, and in that instance, Shane McGrath doing some great work for the MacHales. Now is there a counter-attack? This would lift the roof. In it goes to Porrick Martin. Martin down the line. This is better from Dunmore now. They have a bit of space. It's into Colin Costello. Costello coming in on the right-hand side. Back to Martin. Is there a shot? He's going to go off the left. A little bit high up, but gets good contact. And out to the left and wide. A disappointing conclusion to what was a lightning quick counter-attack. All started by the hard work of Shane McGrath.
Yeah, great work. Great work at overturning the ball and defending. You know, the type of thing that you need your players to do, and then moving the ball really quickly, which is what I was saying that they need to do. But having said that, the opportunity went to Bacon.
Bernard Power, a little bit risky with the kick out, but got it to its intended target. And now through Dylan McHugh, Corofin can surge up towards halfway and launch another lightning quick attack, definitely moving the ball at a much quicker pace. McHugh then goes for the kick pass to the inside line where Ian Burke has got the runner outside him in Carson. Connor Carson coming through, might go for goal, did go for goal. Good block down, however, Dunmore back there, touched on the ground, free out. And now they can solo and go and really try a counter-attack. Opportunity now through Thomas Leeson. Thomas looking up. Might thought about dropping one in over the top towards Colin Costello, but at the end they go short towards Porrick Martin, close to the end line, does well to keep it in. Outside him, he's got support. It's Thomas Leeson. Is he going to kick the first score for Dunmore? No, it's blocked down and easy into the arms of Kieran Brady. Mentioning Thomas Leeson, we better give a big shout out to his dad, Pat, who's watching in from Villamoura today. I can only imagine it's for work purposes that anybody would be out in Villamoura in Portugal.
I'd say
couldn't be having to do with golf or anything like that.
No. And he has sent the sunshine over, so we appreciate that very much, Pat. You sent us a great day.
Well, mentioning sunshine, I'm sure Jimmy Glynn is listening in as well.
No doubt about it.
And Peter McGrath, great Dunmore MacHales supporter, who was over supporting Europe in the Ryder Cup. Looks like that one is going to go your way, Pete. I'm not sure about today in Tuam Stadium, because right now it's Corofin leading Dunmore MacHales by 6 points to no score. And we have played 20 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, significantly for Dunmore, the last two attacks, they defended it well. That last one was Matthew Reddington, was the man that got the stop in and the blocking. And having defended it well, they counter-attacked very quickly, but regrettably, the forwards haven't really been able to get any change at all out of a very solid Corofin defence.
Yeah, it's been disappointing in that regard. There's been a couple of shots at posts, but nothing really to trouble Corofin as they come forward looking for more. And Gavin Burke working it through the hands. Patrick Egan, back it goes. 2-point shot from Malloy. He's got it. Kieran Malloy makes it 8-0. And right now, from Dunmore MacHale's sideline perspective, they've got to be getting really worried. Probably a little bit early yet in terms of making substitutions, but they've got to try and somehow. There's a lot of poor body language out there as well, Kevin.
There is, isn't there? Yeah, there is, yeah. They have to get something. A score would lift them. One score would certainly lift them. it's not, completely gone out of the way yet. But, the danger is, as you said, a goal.
Well, that touch.
But if the goal came the other side, Ollie,
who knows? It might just spark something back into the game. Conor Gleeson's low kick-out was touched inadvertently by Gavin Burke, and that started this Dunmore attack. And Costello comes through and kicks the opening score. And Dunmore finally have taken that blank look off the scoreboard. They've got their opening point on 21 minutes, 8 points to 1. A little bit of luck about how the ball ended up going into the Dunmore attack because of Gavin Burke's touch on the kick-out. But nonetheless, once Costello got into position, he ran hard at the Corofin defence.
And a goal shot wasn't out of the question either, he opted for the point.
Could have gone low. Now let's see, can Dunmore build on that? Underneath it is Slattery, wins the mark. Is there a backup point from Dunmore MacHales? Quick hand pass from Brendan Carr across to McGrath, outside of the right. He's just bombed it out, and that really is a little bit rash. Went for the 2-pointer, would have lifted the roof, but all it's done really now is sucked a bit of oxygen out of that Dunmore attack. It's a 4th wide for Dunmore MacHales, and that really was probably not the option in that instance.
No. Again, don't rush it, don't panic. When you have possession, use it, because take your time with it if you can at all, because, bury the clock a little bit. It's 7 points at the moment, and kill a bit of time, see what you can do, see what kind of space you can open up.
Bernard Power has been pretty consistent in going short with the kick out. Can use Liam Silk on this occasion. Back again towards Conor Carson. Is there going to be a tackle from Porrick Martin to stop him? But coming around in the loop, Conor Cunningham, and it's just too easy for Corofin to burst their way out from the back, and Cunningham keeps going. Gavin Burke has got him on his shoulder, decides to jink inside, and now he goes for the low kick pass in front of Lundy. Back outside it goes, little loop around the corner, opportunity now, Jack McCabe in there as well. Also Egan looks to get it into the back of the net, and for the second time the ball is cleared off the goal line. Colin Comer, the man on this occasion. Dunmore's goal leading a charmed existence, but I think you could see how Nevana Letchermore got 4 goals in the first half of the preliminary quarter-final, cutting through like a knife through butter. Corofin have done it twice. First time round Brendan Carr, but that time it was excellent defending. Colin Comer, with the ball heading towards the net, came back to make a last-ditch save.
Yeah, and the work rate, Dunmore just have to up their work rate, because when Conor Cunningham got through there and he made the pass, he kept going. His marker didn't follow him. That meant an extra man coming in on top of the defence for Dunmore, and that extra man carried all the way through, right through the 13-metre line when we had the shot on the goal. And fortunately enough, Colin Comer was on the line to clear it out.
There is a 45 for Corofin to follow up. Dara Silk is the man to take it left-footed. Gloves tucked into the shorts in case of a shower, but no danger of that, Dara. Doesn't get purchase on that at all. And the ball flicks inside. Very well to pick that up was Colin Lyons. And what was a very tricky ball that could just have easily have been touched on the ground.
Yeah, there was a danger of that, no doubt about it. Now, this is where Dunmore just need to be a little bit more savvy, use the ball a little bit wiser.
Colin Comer plays a little 1-2 with Jack Jordan, who decides to switch it over here to Jake Slattery on the left-hand flank.
Space down the left here now if he wants to use it.
He's got Brendan Carr, who's now cutting through the centre. Uses it, plays a little reverse pass to Slattery. Back it goes. Costello goes for a point. Doesn't get enough of it there. Oh, it does, over the bar. Looked like Bernard Power was going to put up the paws and pull that one down, but he got enough. It's inside the arc, so it's only for 1 point, but it's an excellent score. Costello gets his and Dunmore's second. 8-2, much better.
Yeah, much better. And as I said to you, to use the ball a little bit wiser there. To spread it from the far side of the field right across this side of the field, and made the create a bit of space here down the left-hand side for Colin Costello, and he took the opportunity really well.
Let's see how this kick-out works on, because if it goes over the lot, it's sneaking in around the back, and he would have been in on goal was Gavin Burke, but the breaking ball still works out for Corofin, and they can launch an attack. 5 minutes to half-time. This is where Corofin normally put the pedal to the metal and try and beat their opponents into submission. Jason Leonard into Ian Burke. He goes for one around the corner. Beautiful strike over the bar. Ian Burke, what a score. Reeling in the years, Ian Burke, from a position of 9 years ago winning an All-Star. Was first in 14 years at that instance. He really was at the top of the game nationally on that occasion.
But what a hand passer he was as well at that time, flicking the ball all around for Galway and for Corofin. And, it doesn't seem that he has lost any of that there an excellent score from a tight angle out the left-hand side near the scoreboard end. Super score for Ian Burke.
Well, in the meantime, of course, his studies, his career have very much taken centre stage, but the referee, somewhat to the chagrin of the Dunmore faithful, has given a free against Shane McGrath for an Aussie rules style catch in the middle of the field from the kick out.
Yeah, it looked like it was a mark. But obviously he saw a push in the back somewhere, so that was the foul, and that was why the free was given.
Free to Corofin, taken quickly, and now they can surge forward. Heading into the dying few minutes of this first half. There'll be an important few minutes for Dunmore, who trail 9-2. Justin Leonard looked like he was through on goal there. Now back to Jack McCabe. He has to turn around and go back to Gavin Burke. Left-footed, swings it across to Kieran Malloy. Malloy, the little dancing feet of Micheál Lundy. Again, playing it back inside to Malloy. Little dummy hand pass, and suddenly it's all opened up in front of him. Should be a score. Back it goes, right-footed, up and over the bar. Simple point. And for
Patrick Egan, I think, is it?
For Dunmore MacHales, it's an 8-point deficit once again. Egan, the man with the score. Micheál Lundy involved. Kieran Malloy involved. And for Egan, his first point of the day on 27 minutes makes it 10 points to 2. So a pretty healthy lead from Corofin. I think they'd be still happy with that if they were to win at half time. But the trouble for Dunmore is they've got a few more minutes to have to survive. Let's see this kick out from Conor Gleeson. Does well to get it to Jake Slattery, but now what does Slattery do? He's under serious pressure. So too Matthew Reddington. Lets the ball drop, but does very well to come out through the trouble and use Colin Lyons. But it's risky stuff from Dunmore. Get through it all.
Now they have the ball. Now use the possession.
Possession in the middle of the field with Thomas Gleeson. Right-footed, good ball across. Tried to get it into the waiting arms of Pádraig Costello. Costello's got his brother to the right or on the left. Decides to use Pádraig Martin. Martin, is he going to try and get it into a position to shoot for a two-pointer? No, decides to switch it over with the hand pass to the far side of the field. Brendan Carnow threading a lovely ball through to Gleeson. Thomas Gleeson putting the head down, trying to get around Conor Cunningham. That's easier said than done, but he's got the free. Not so sure how much Conor Cunningham could have done about it, but Thomas Gleeson played it well, leaned into the man.
He had a hold of the material, as they say. And once you pull the material, it's an easy free for the ref to give.
Well, if that's the case, Christopher Ryan is right there beside the incident. And it's a simple free for Dunmore, one would think, to tap over the bar. Pádraig Costello looking to get his first of the game. And right-footed. Taps it over the bar to make it 10-3.
Yeah, when it was 8-2 there a few minutes ago, Ali, I was thinking, should Dunmore get the next score? You know, there would have been just 5 points in it. Unfortunately, it was Corofin that tagged on 2 extra. But Dunmore have gotten one back now, and it should have get the next score. You know, it narrows it down again, and it'll give them a little bit of confidence.
A little bit of a lift, but they will certainly need to blitz Corofin like Milltown did in the early part of the championship when it comes to the second half. Just caught completely unawares of where the ball was Shane Mitchell, as Corofin eventually recycled the ball through the hands, and Liam Silk looking forward, always looking to try and pick that option of getting it to Ian Burke. Burke well marshalled by Colin Lyons, so Corofin holding it up. Back it goes to Dylan McHugh. McHugh looking for options. He's got a backdoor cut, and there's a goal on here as Conor Gleeson comes out, takes his man out of it, and referee could have played on, but in the end, Conor Gleeson will do well to escape a black card here, but I think it was enough of an awkward challenge to just get a yellow card. Conor Gleeson, I don't think had much chance. He did what he had to do.
He did, yeah. He's got a yellow card, so he's not so bad. He got away with that one. He came out, and it was a goal otherwise. There's no doubt about it. It was going to be a goal. But he did the right thing. He took the man out of it, made sure there wasn't a goal conceded, and you know, they'll be happy enough to say, I take the point.
Yeah, it could well have been a goal, but it's 3 clear-cut goal chances that Corofin have created in this first half. 2 of them cleared off the line by defenders, and the third unceremoniously ended by the goalkeeper doing what the goalkeeper had to do. So Conor Gleeson's intervention might have cost him a yellow card, but he'll take that all day long, and it makes it 11 points to 3. But there's scarcely a murmur here in Tuam Stadium, Kevin. There's very little excitement.
Very little excitement. It's 11 points to 3. It's a big, big score for Corofin. And really and truly, they've had the kind of the run of the game all the way through. They just have the pace, they have the skills and talent, they have the footballers, they're making the passes. You know, everything is going right for them.
And they have the system, and a system that's developed over many, many years, and one that Dunmore have to try and aspire to get to this level.
It's the use of the ball, Ali, as well. That, you know, as you say, their system. They have that possession all the time. You're looking out here now, there's 4 Corofin players around the ball, all unmarked. The options are all there. One will make a run, and that means that there'll be other players, you know, to be able to come inside and create space for themselves, and that's what's happening now.
Dylan McHugh goes for a score for the end of the half, as that just out to the left-hand side and wide. Good opportunity, but gone a begging. And we are now coming up on 2 minutes of injury time played at the end of the first half. And there was 2 minutes, that was... So Christopher Ryan might decide to let this play out. Let's see how the kick-out goes. Well gathered by Jack Jordan. Is there a point by Dunmore at the end of this to finish the half? Might be more if they go long and over the top underneath it. Martin trying to win it but can't. Very well defended by Conor Carson, and that is the end of the first half. A fleeting chance for MacHales at the end, but it's a half utterly dominated by Corofin, playing well within themselves, dominating the fixture really from start to finish. It was worrying for Dunmore MacHales when at one stage Corofin went 8 points to 0 up, but thankfully Dunmore MacHales, with the last 10 minutes of the half producing 3 points, have given themselves some semblance of a chance of playing their way back into this game in the second half, or making it a little bit more competitive. But at half-time in Tuam Stadium, the champions have 1 foot in the semi-final draw and are looking comfortable as they lead Dunmore MacHales by 11 points to 3. Come back to us for the second half in full in just a few minutes. Well dispossessed, should be a goal on for Corofin. Connor on the goal line as the ball trickled past Conor Gleeson. Still hasn't been cleared completely. Corofin could still get a point out of it, and do. It's up and over the... So important, understanding, so important. And here it is, the free from Jason Leonard, which was high and unerringly accurate, but up and over the bar, 2-pointer. Corofin trying to get the ball inside towards the marauding run of Conor Carson, but out the field it comes, and it's slotted over the bar.
Patrick Egan was in there, he was looking for it. So they have that tenaciousness, and it's certainly shown for them.
Jason Leonard, remember, Corofin are playing with breeze advantage in the first half, but it's not hugely significant or impactful, and no problems there for Jim Burke. Working it through the hands, Patrick Egan, back it goes, 2-point shot from Malloy, he's got it. Conor Gleeson's low kick-out was touched inadvertently by Gavin Burke, and that started this Dunmore attack. And Hoslow comes through and kicks the opening score. Uses it, plays a little reverse pass to Slattery, back it goes. Welcome back to Tuam Stadium. We're in situ and ready to go for part 2 of Corofin against Dunmore MacHales as all the crowd filter back into their seats. Both teams back out on the field. And a half an hour, one would imagine, between Corofin and their place back in the semi-finals of the Galway Senior Football Championship. It's been disappointing for Dunmore MacHales and their big support so far. And they will be hoping to get off to a lightning start to the second half as Christopher Ryan throws the ball in. Shane McGrath gets a little touchdown, so to Kieran Brady, but the breaking ball has worked out for Dunmore. And Brendan Carr coming through. A little flick pass to Matthew Reddington. Back it goes to Carr off the right, looking for a fast start as he chips it up and chips it over the bar. Excellent start for Dunmore. Referee Christopher Ryan is deciding, however, that he's going to give the free in. So
chance of a 2-pointer instead.
I think that's all it's turned in. I would have probably taken the 1-pointer if I was Dunmore MacHales and the advantage, but now is a chance for Pádraig Costa, who's going to kick this from inside. So it's only a 1-point free, and right-footed, he strikes it up. So it's pretty much no to the left-hand side and wide. So a bit of a disaster for Dunmore.
Yeah.
That the initial shot wasn't allowed from Brendan Carr.
Yeah, you know, when you have that advantage rule, which means, you know, you can hold off as long as you want as a referee, you'd imagine he might have given them that advantage, but unfortunately it didn't work out for Dunmore on this occasion.
The free miss by Pádraig Costa is an absolute disaster, because that meant that the point, there's a great catch from Jack Jordan in the middle of the field. He's played well, Jordan.
Yeah, he's done very well.
He's had a good championship, but yeah, a strange one. That match referee didn't allow the Dunmore shot to count, and especially it was the free. If it had been a 2-point free, you'd have said something, but it wasn't. It was well inside where he sprayed the shaven foam and told him where it had to be kicked from. So 11-3 it remains. Corofin in charge against Dunmore MacHales, who will now, with the breeze advantage, attack the scoreboard end. But I think Dunmore need a little bit more than the breeze to play their way back into this game.
They need to shake that onion sack, I think.
They may need a goal, but here's Jack Jordan, and with the left boot, just didn't get the curl on it. There is a change in Dunmore at half-time, and they've brought in Dylan Brady at half-time in place of Sean Murray. So that's a change of wing-back Dylan Brady for Sean Murray. And Brady will play the second half of this fixture. Dunmore also have a couple of other likely substitutions to come in. Another big catch in the middle of the field from Shane McGrath, but his hand pass was poor. Worked out, and that would be a free in for Dunmore. A heavy arm tackle by Conor Cunningham, who might well be finding his name in the referee's book on the back of that one, but again, he was anxious not to let Dunmore build a goal-scoring opportunity. So,
yeah, they've done well at the middle of the field, Ollie, at the start of the second half. They've won the first 2 big balls out there. They won, you know, the ball from the throw-in, so that's 3 in a row for them. If they can maintain that and keep possession and try and build up a score and get right back into the game, you'd have to say it's a good opportunity for them, but everything has to go right. Including
this free needs to go over from Pádraig Costa, and he curls it in and over the bar. So 11-4. It's the start Dunmore wanted. That's the start Dunmore got a couple of minutes ago, but were denied a seemingly legitimate point. But still a long way back from 11-4. And in truth, they will probably need a few 2-pointers to truly play their way back into this game. Micheál Lundy makes a lung-bursting run down the middle. That now has left Corofin a little bit light, but they have a brilliant catch in the centre of the field to bail them out of trouble. Kieran Brady taking possession of the O'Neills, flicking it back, and now Corofin can start from the half-back line with Kieran Brady getting it off to Conor Cunningham, to Kieran Malloy. Malloy on the left to Lundy. Micheál Lundy looking back, and with the right hand flicks it back to Patrick Egan, who got a point in that opening half. Conor Cunningham looking for the 1-2 and bursting through the middle, taken out of it by Matthew Reddington. I think had Reddington sidestepped him, he would probably have been done for over carrying.
Yes, it looked like that to me too. Ollie, I was just going to say it could have been a case of overcarrying, but it's not going to be that. Instead, it's going to be an opportunity for a score here for Jason Leonard. Not a two-pointer inside the arc, so Son on his back here.
Should be a routine kick for Jason Leonard. He'll take his time and look to strike this one right-footed. Again, all the players on the goal line, goalkeeper Conor Gleeson and the umpires all shielding their eyes from the sun as Jason Leonard beautifully curls that one up and over the bar. He's kicked so many of those in his club career, and I would say a good percentage of them have been here in Tuam Stadium.
Yeah, we're well used to seeing them put those over and convert those. You know, a player that knows the process, goes through the process, you know, and executes it so well every time.
Great consistency about his strike as Conor Gleeson goes long. A little touch on from Shane McGrath, but that was well read by Dylan McHugh. And now Corofin can come again. Jason Leonard has got a man on the shoulder, and this is big trouble now for Dunmore. Patrick Egan straight through, but the hand pass is spun by Ian. Back of the net from Ian Burke. And the man who has spent the last year over in Fontainebleau in France in the INSEAD Business School, the 32-year-old Ian Burke is back with the bang for Corofin. Who knows, will we ever see him again in the maroon and white of Galway, which he was so prominent with 10 years ago. But that was a clinical finish. The Dunmore goal had led a charmed life up to that point, but 6 minutes into the second half, the onion bag is rattled, and one would think that that might well be that.
And there was absolutely no stopping that one, Ollie. You know, once the ball came through the middle, Dunmore had won the first three kickouts, or the first three possessions at the middle of the field. Corofin win one, and straight away the pace that they injected into the attack going forward, you could see it. And Dunmore were backpedaling, and of course the advantage was always with Corofin, and Patrick Egan set up Ian Burke beautifully, and he took the goal with aplomb.
Chance presented itself, and no better man to finish it. Spun the tackle, right-footed finish, bottom left-hand corner. Dunmore have an attack, largely thanks to Shane Mitchell doing really well. Colm Costello going for an ambitious one, but well, the linesman is not going to offer much in terms of an opinion on this one behind the play, but the umpires behind the posts indicating that it went behind the posts and wide. I think that's one of those that, in truth, the only way you'll ever get a correct decision there is with Hawkeye, and that ain't available to us.
Well, my Hawkeye thought it was wide, actually. I thought it was wide, and definitely thought it was on the right-hand side of the post, unfortunately, for Dunmore. So I would agree with the decision of the umpire on this occasion.
Well, there's no point me contradicting you then, is there?
No, absolutely not.
1-12 to 4 points it remains. Corofin.
7 wides for Dunmore, though, Ali, to mount. That's inside.
Well, Paddy O'Griefa is trying, he's the linesman on the near side, is trying to bring that to the attention of the referee, but Christopher Ryan is either choosing to ignore or failing to hear him. But the kick out has to clear the arc.
And it didn't.
And it clearly didn't. So
No,
Corofin coming forward. This might be controversial if there's a score at the end of this, as the ball is worked out from Liam Silk to Jason Leonard. A little hitch kick inside as the ball is replayed back to Lundy. Over the bar it is. And a simple score for Corofin. Worked through the hands, great movement. And even the, inverted commas, elder statesmen like Micheál Lundy, Ian Burke up front, they really are just motoring really well for this Corofin outfit. Don't mind the experience that they have at the back with the likes of Conor Cunningham, Liam Silk, Kieran Malloy, Dylan McHugh. They just have a great blend of youth and experience.
In the championship up to this, they've been sluggish, but you can see that the whole levels of fitness and pace and moving the ball has all changed. You know, they've gone up a whole notch in their approach to this particular game. You know, we saw against Milltown, you know, Milltown came back at them and drove at them. But this particular outfit here for Corofin today, they're really clinical.
And now really starting to pick up the pace as well. Dylan McHugh going around a couple of challenges like they weren't there. And in the end, Dunmore turn it over and work their way out from the back. Brendan Carr, who's worked really hard for Dunmore today. Playing the ball off to Thomas Gleeson, who's doing well. Nice little pass. And now Dunmore have a couple of players over. So 7 on 5. If Dunmore surely can make this overlap work, there should be an opportunity to get a goal. In the end, the shot from Pádraig Costello is across the goals and wide. An 8th wide for Dunmore. And that is just desperately poor.
Desperately poor, because, as you said, you know, you need to be able to assess your situation there. And the situation was there was 2 other players inside him. There's an opportunity maybe to try and create something, create a goal, create a major, because that's what they need to get right back into this game. And, you know, when you don't even take the point, you really put yourself under a lot of pressure.
113 to 4 points as Corofin make a couple of substitutions. And I'm sure they will be emptying the bench at this stage.
Number 24, Dylan Kenny. Number 12,
Dylan Kenny straight in and catches the kick out. A mark, says the referee, so awarded to him. And Dylan Kenny decides right-footed to switch the point of the attack over the far side of the field, where eventually the ball makes its way through to Cathal Silk. Through the arms it goes. Gavin Burke. On it goes to the right-hand side to Dylan McHugh, to Ian Burke, to Micheál Lundy, across to Conor Cunningham. Quick hand pass inside to Patrick Egan, trying to get it off the right. A little nudge as he shot. Did he curl it back? He did. A beautiful strike. Egan's 2nd point. Half a dozen of players involved in a passing move that's ended with a beautiful curling strike. And it doesn't matter which end of the ground here in Tuam Stadium Corofin shoot into. They are prolific. Long kick out from Gleeson works out for Colm Costello, but nobody to aim at. Goes backwards. Ball brilliantly blocked down. Brendan Carr just bullied out of it by Conor Cunningham. Gets the pass off, and Corofin might look for more here as the ball is hand passed in across to Kieran Malloy. In on goal. Takes his time. Looked like Shane McGrath was getting both hands on him there, but it's going out for what is 45.
I think he's given a free out here.
Yeah, there is an advantage coming for a late hit on the pass that went prior to Kieran Malloy taking possession. It'll give a 2-point free to Jason Leonard. Match referee Christopher Ryan just indicating where the free was. No, it's further out, in fact. Quickly taken by Patrick Egan, who was way outside, almost 60 yards out from goal when the free was brought back. Another beautiful spin from Ian Burke, looking to try and take possession back. Does so. Got that great balance back again, where he holds the ball in the left hand and holds it out, and then has the right hand wavering to decide what direction to play the hand pass. Here's a beautiful curling effort. That is an absolutely classy score. Jack McCabe. Is it any wonder he's been involved in the extended Galway squad in the last couple of years as well? We saw him make his first Galway start in the Hyde Park against Roscommon in a FBD fixture, but he's a quality player, and Corofin now really are absolutely kicking for home. 115 to 4 points. This game is well and truly done and dusted. And still 17 minutes for the Dunmore fans to endure. They'll hope that the MacHales can just keep going, showing pride in the jersey, and that this famous club has got a lot of really quality young players. Of course, for Dunmore, this might be their last championship match at senior level, but they do have a big fixture coming up as we watch Shane McGrath look to curl one in beautifully over the bar. That is
well done.
Classy score from Shane McGrath. A 2-pointer. Probably should have been more than 2 points. He was miles out when he bombed that one over.
Done.
That makes it 115 to 6.
Yeah, it was a great score. One of the top scores that we've seen during the course of the day. So well done to him there. There's no doubt about that.
But I was making the point before Shane McGrath bombed that over. Dunmore have an under-19A final against Clare Galway.
Yeah.
So it's a big game for them next week as well. Ian Burke comes off. He's all smiles. Easily the most travelled man in the Corofin panel. Probably the most travelled man in the stadium today, having been to all manner of different parts of Asia. We mentioned his time in France, and certainly his studies and his career are well documented. But now that he's back playing football with Corofin, he's sure to be a huge addition for the remainder of the championship, however long that goes. And one suspects with this Corofin team, who'd bet against them winning another county championship and going off on a run for All-Ireland honours.
Yeah, they really are in top form here today, aren't they? They're really, you know, like, you can't fault them more for their effort, but they're just being absolutely blitzed, blown away.
Conor Carson making a foray into the Dunmore attack. Back it comes, and Corofin working the ball through the hands. They're just queuing up for a score here. Patrick Egan thought about going for his hat-trick, takes it, return pass, might be an on goal here. Carson tries to get it past. Was Egan in the square? He was. Free out. It's almost comical at this stage, as
Corofin did well there, though, kind of smothered the ball.
He got a half a touch that meant it wouldn't go into the net. Had it gone in by Patrick Egan, it would have been a goal. But the fact that it had, or if Conor Carson's shot had gone in, it would have been a goal. But the fact that it was half blocked by Gleeson took the sting out of it, and it meant when it broke to Egan, he was in the square. Now, can Dunmore switch it around at the other end and get a score? Yes, they can. Excellent point from Pádraig Costello to make it 115-7. Dunmore make a switch. Jamie Cohn comes in. They take off Shane Mitchell, and that's a standard swap in the MacHales that we've seen throughout all of the championship to date. So 115-7, and I suppose could just so easily have been 215-6 had the goal gone in at the other end.
Number 9.
So Dunmore MacHales make another change. Cathal Meehan is going to come in, and young Cathal will be introduced in the next break of play. Pushing the back, says the referee, and Conor Gleeson came out for the kick out. There's no goalkeeper. And Conor is going to have to really put a move on to get back in between the sticks. He's indicating that he is back, but Corofin have got 4 players over. Mia Lundy, across it goes. Is there a goal on here? Egan is in there, trip penalty, and Corofin might just get their second goal after all, but calamitous moment out in the middle of the field with Conor Gleeson deciding to abandon his role to go out and join the kick out. I think it's all largely academic at this stage anyway, Kevin, but...
Well, it's an attempt to try and do something, really, you know. You can't blame somebody for trying to be a bit of innovative under the pressure that they're under. So, you know, from that point of view, you know, we reserve our judgment on it, but when it goes wrong, though, Ollie, it looks horrible, and that's what it did look like. You know, Patrick Egan was in, I think 4 Corofin players handled the ball across the square at that stage. Any one of them might have had a shot and put it in the back of the net.
So the penalty it is, and I can't imagine Dara Silk won't go for goal here. I'm sure he could tap it over the bar, but I'm sure he'll look to try and get past Conor Gleeson, who's a pretty imposing figure between the posts for Dunmore MacHales. Silk against Gleeson, cool as you like. Conor Gleeson guessed left, and really Silk had a simplest task of looking up, seeing the goalkeeper had moved, and slotted into the bottom left-hand corner. 215-7 points. I think if Moycullen were confident that they had made a statement yesterday in their victory over Oughterard, well, this is at a different level altogether.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything yet, Ollie. We'll just wait until see what happens at the outcome of this particular game. Dunmore still full value for their effort in trying to do something. Long ball in too far, and unfortunately that'll chalk down as another wide, and that's their 9th wide of the game from the point of view of Dunmore. But in fairness to them, they haven't hung the heads, dropped the heads completely. They're still trying, they're still giving it a shot. Like, they're still, you know, trying to cut out the opportunities for Bernard Power to make that kick out work for Corofin. But every time Corofin get the ball, you know, the movement and the kick passing, the hand passing, it's so slick, and nobody hanging around. They move with pace, and all the time there's a man coming off the shoulder. And there we go, kicked over the bar. An absolutely huge score from Conor Cunningham for Corofin. A great score from him, as the ball is passed through the hands, and stretching the lead now to 216 to 7 points. And we're looking at 10 minutes left to play, Ollie. It's going to be a very difficult 10 minutes for Dunmore.
Yet, if Corofin do look for any sort of motivation in the championship, And I suppose it's the job of management, and Gary Delaney in particular, to look to try and motivate your team for better effort. All you'd have to do really is look at the overall odds for the Galway Championship. And now anyone could tell me that Salthill Knocknacarra, despite the strength and all the fabulous players they have and 3 All-Star nominees as things are, to think that Salthill would be favourites for the county championship ahead of Corofin, to me is utterly bizarre. These are the team that have absolutely dominated the last 30 years of the club championship in Galway, are going for 3 in a row. And remember, played Salthill in the semi-finals here last year in Tuam Stadium and blew them away with a performance not unlike what we're seeing today.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And Salthill were 6-4 at the start of this particular weekend, and Corofin, I think, were 2-1. And what a joke that was, like, because I'm not saying anything against Salthill, but I'm just saying, like anybody that's trying to measure what Corofin are like, you know, you have to just look at the list on the panel and the players that they have. And if you get that right, if you get the balance right on the field of play, and I think today they have, and a man there that has kicked that ball, Patrick Egan, has been a key factor in what's been happening out there today. He's brought a bit of balance to the middle of the field again for Corofin, something that was lacking in the games, I felt, up until now. But really, it has been, you know, a powerful show from him today.
Oh, another heavy tackle going in there on Dylan McHugh. Jake Slattery is going to be getting a yellow card for that one, and it'll be another point for Corofin. And I think right now, as Corofin make a couple of more substitutions, there would be people heading for the exits, safe in the knowledge that Corofin, there's the yellow card for Slattery. Conor Cunningham taken off. He had a pretty effective afternoon for Corofin. Powerful player and a real key member of a backline that boasts the likes of the Silks, Dylan McHugh and Kieran Malloy. An embarrassment of riches at the back for Corofin.
Yeah, and he had a bit of a strapping on his legs, so you can see why that might be the reason he's been taken off. This man is coming off now as a man that hasn't played at all year. And you know, but in the last 2 years, like, he's been so effective for them at the middle of the field. Really has been a powerful part of the Corofin team.
And let's face it, more than likely the man of the match today, if you were picking a player of the match.
For me, yeah, because he's been involved in all the good things that's been happening for Corofin. As I said, in the Milltown game, I felt that the big problem was for Corofin out of the middle of the field, having any kind of leadership.
That free tapped up and over the bar to make it now 2-17 to 7 points. So Corofin will be joining Moycullen in the semi-final draw. The other 2 games, of course, Kevin will be keeping a close ear on what's going to happen in the next quarter-final. Tuam Stars play Killannon at 4:15 in Kenny Park in Athenry. And at 4:30, it's the city clash of Salthill Knocknacarra and St. James's in Pearse Stadium. So some really interesting matches to look forward to for the rest of the afternoon. Matthew Connolly comes in for Dunmore.
Yeah, just watching here, there's an opportunity for Dunmore to get a score here.
They've got a free in, so maybe a free to match the one that Dara Silk got at the other end. This time round, it's going to be Pádraig Costello for Dunmore. As really, for Dunmore MacHales players, the heads are down, the hands are on the hips, and they just can't believe that they really have been second best. Pádraig Costello played it back to Shane McGrath, who attempted a 2-pointer, but only dropped it short to Bernard Power, who kicks it out towards the sideline. Trying to keep it in play over there is Shane McGrath, but a little push in the back there means a free out for Corofin. Solo and go, and they move the ball quickly through the hands. Conor Carson, who's had a very profitable afternoon as well for Corofin.
He's done very well, hasn't he, for the young fellow? He really has shown himself up. Be as good as everything else that's around him in there, and you know, he's got Carl Silk, Liam Silk in there, and when you look at the half-back line then, and you see Kieran Malloy's out there and Dylan McHugh, and he's matched everything that they've been doing.
Dara Silk playing it in field to Dylan McHugh. He's got a runner outside him. Sub who come in there for Corofin. That's Ross Cohen. Ross just running into the challenge there. Dunmore didn't like it. The referee is just going to hold that game up. Didn't like the aggressive nature of how he ran into the man, but looks like Cathal Meehan is fine. He jumps up and gives the thumbs up. And now there's a few words from Colin Comer. The referee is in fact issuing a yellow card for a tackle. Substitution coming in. Corofin are going to bring in Cian Murphy, and he will replace Micheál Lundy. So a change in the forward line.
Corofin substitution, number 23, Cian Murphy, replaced number 14, Micheál Lundy.
Warm exchange on the sideline with Gary Delaney, the Corofin manager, and Lundy, job done. And a very, very comfortable afternoon for Corofin. Always hot favourites, but it's probably been a lot easier than they felt it would be. 2:17 to 7 points, 5 minutes to go. Conor Gleeson, outside of the right, plays a lovely ball low towards Colm Costello. Being put under pressure there by Gavin Burke. Forced backwards towards Brendan Carr. Carr in turn gets it up towards Dylan Brady. Brady just slips as he runs into the tackle, but does very well to bounce back up. Plays a nice hand pass off to Colm Costello. Driving through, now goes for a bit of an up and under, but that one is going to drop in around the house, and the goalkeeper, Bernard Power, just taking no chances, palms it out at the expense of a 45. But Dunmore really reduced now to hit and hope in around the square.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Try and get a goal.
Try and get something, try and create something. You know, they created a 2-pointer a few minutes ago off a free. They're trying to create a goal. And it's an attempt to try and improve the scoreboard and the look on the scoreboard. Here's a shot now, and it's just gone off to the right and wide. An effort again from Colm Costello for a 2-pointer. All the time trying to create something, but the pressure is on them. You know, it really hasn't been their afternoon, and you can't blame them, because you'd have to say that Corofin have been absolutely outstanding. Everything they've done, you know, they haven't put a foot wrong really throughout the whole game. You know, every move they've made has been, you know, well thought out, well worked. The kickouts have been well worked. There now, the run that was, you know, made for that particular kickout, superb run, and they're just at a different level here this afternoon.
Dunmore largely chasing shadows, and thankfully the weather means there have been some shadows. Dunmore have turned one over here though, an opportunity with Jake Slattery, plays it through and inside for Pádraig Martin. Martin on the right, is going to go for goal, but straight at the goalkeeper. Good height as well for Bernard Power, and that was an easy save. And now Dunmore are going to be caught on the counter, except for some brilliant work by Shane McGrath to somehow wrestle back possession. And Dunmore, with plenty of players forward, might have a chance of getting a consolation goal here into Thomas Leeson, but a poor pass. Thomas Leeson playing it into a man standing on the end line, and it really wasn't the option.
No, but the option was to have a goal, blast it, and see what happens. It could have ricocheted off anybody. But now as the counter-attack, and the other Gleeson is out of the goal.
Corofin, though, just trying to keep it in play. Cian Murphy over there at the corner flag does very well. Coming in along the end-line, Colin Comer has caught the wrong side. Forces them back out. There's a free coming, so there's a free pop at the post here. So Corofin know they can line up a 2-point shot. But in the end, they keep it going. They've got a man on the shoulder as well, but in the end, Corofin do get their point. And the ball is drilled up and over the bar to make it 2:18 to 7 points. Simple score in the end. And for Corofin and for Brian Cogger, it's his first score of the game. An 18th point for Corofin. And a 2:18 to 2-7. 2:18 to 7 points. Corofin, interestingly, are 1 point short of what Moycullen got yesterday in their quarter-final in Pearse Stadium. Dunmore with a free. Possession not thrown back to the player, so it's brought forward. And this will be a 2-point free for Dunmore if Pádraig or Colm Costello decide to have a go at this.
Yeah, the spray is outside the arc, so it is a chance of a 2-pointer.
This would get Dunmore up to 9 points if they can manage it, but in truth, it's academic. 2:18 to 7 at the moment. We're into the last minute of normal time. Here's Pádraig Costello then. Right-footed, gets good contact on it. Up and over the bar, 2-pointer it is. 2:18 to 9. That's a nice ripple of applause from the Dunmore contingent here, but for a lot of the neutrals who came here today expecting a rip-roaring turn back the clock. Corofin, Dunmore, epic. I'm afraid they've been left well shortchanged.
Oh, they have been left well shortchanged. Now, I haven't said that. I mean, you know, they've done what they could, and they've a bit of learning to do from today, no doubt about that. But, you know, they just came up against the Corofin side. They were tenacious from the word go.
Additional time, at least 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3 minutes to be added on. Colm Costello being forced again out the field by Liam Silk. In the end, just drops it in around the house. Nobody there except Thomas Leeson goes to ground. Penalty Dunmore. No, referee says he felt that was a dive, but he is giving a free for the initial build-up play. So Dunmore go again, and this time the ball is flicked clear, and the quick free has come to naught. Well, referee not given the free out. Ball worked across. Is there a shot coming in here? Over the bar. Nice ball drilled up and over the bar there by Matthew Connolly. His first score of the day. Substitute for Dunmore. Matthew Connolly gets Dunmore into double figures. You can see they're trying to work a goal, and in truth, the easy thing would be just to keep tapping over a few points here to make it respectable, but they're trying to get that goal to give them some bit of a fillip.
That's right, and you can't blame them. They've been trying that for a long time back out in the game. You know, like most of the second half, since they went in at 3 points at halftime, most of the second half they've been trying for that big score, either the two-pointer or the goal, the two-pointer or the goal. And in fairness to them, they haven't given up.
Brilliant kick out from Bernard Power to pick out Liam Silk. That's a mark because it went past the 45, and so Dunmore have to retreat. And that excellent bit of play by the Corofin goalkeeper means that Corofin now have a chance to finish this game with another score. Bursting forward, an opportunity for Ross Cohen on the shoulder. He flicks it across towards Dara Silk. Through the hands it goes. There might be a ball flicked into the net here, but a nice touch by Matthew Connolly just to stop Corofin getting a goal at that end. Back out the field it goes, and the shot is out to the right hand side, off the post and over the bar by Gavin Burke. Just caught the inside of the right hand upright sufficiently to drop onto the net. A point for Corofin, 2:19 to 10 points. We've played 2 of the 3 minutes as Conor Gleeson strokes it down the middle of the field, but over the head of Brendan Carr, picked up by Kieran Malloy. Back to Conor Carson. Carson just looking to kill the clock now at this stage. The time is very much into the final minute. Malloy is their chance for Corofin to get to 20 points. I've no doubt they'll attempt it. Ball is flicked back from Dylan McHugh now, looking for the opportunity for Jack McCabe maybe to work a yard of space for Corofin. Just killing the clock. 30 seconds left. And a stress-free afternoon for Corofin and their supporters in Tuam Stadium as they play their way through to the semi-finals of the championship, and might just finish with an all-important 20th point, which is drilled up and over the bar by Dara Silk. So Corofin edge one more past Moycullen in terms of the scoring rate. Moycullen put 2:19 on Oughterard. Corofin have put 2:20 on Dunmore, and that will bring the curtain down on the quarter-final of the Galway Senior Football Championship, with Corofin defeating Dunmore MacHales by 2 goals and 20 points to 10 points. Kevin Dwyer, your final thoughts on a very one-sided quarter-final?
Well, it was very one-sided. Corofin came out, and from the word go on, they showed their intent. They changed the goalie for a start, you know, bringing back Bernard Power. They brought in Ian Burke, who had an immense impact on the game. Paddy Egan at the middle of the field also had an immense impact on the game. And then, you know, it just seemed to get them swinging into a real rhythm. And from the word go, they were tenacious, they were faster, they were had great speed, their skills in passing the ball, moving it around, taking the scores. They weren't greedy at all, Oliver. They took every score that came their way, and they got the goals at the crucial time that they needed them. And they'd have to say, job done for Corofin.
They are in the draw for the semi-finals, and God help whoever gets them in a couple of hours' time. Corofin, Moycullen, 2 of the 4 teams. The other 2 will be decided over the course of the next hour and a half. But here in Tuam Stadium, no question about the merits of the county champions. Corofin have done it with ease, and they look to be only getting better as every week ticks by in the championship. They will be in action in 2 weeks' time in the semi-finals, and they have ended Dunmore MacHales' interest in this year's championship. For the MacHales, a second successive quarter-final defeat in the senior championship. There's no shame in that. They're very much back in senior football, but they know they have a distance to go to get to the level of this Corofin team, to be challenging for honours and winning a 16th Frank Fox Cup in Dunmore MacHales' proud history. Here in Tuam Stadium, it's Corofin the victors. Let's have a look at some of the match highlights before we go pitch side and get some reaction from the winners. Well dispossessed, should be a goal on for Corofin. Connor to the goal line as the ball trickled past Conor Gleeson. Still hasn't been cleared completely. Corofin could still get a point out of it, and do. It's up and over the floor. Should be a score. Back it goes, right footed up and over the bar. Pádraig Costello looking to get his first of the game. And right footed. Taps it over the bar to make it 10-3.
But he did the right thing. He took the man out of it, made sure there wasn't a goal conceded, and they'll be happy. It's a good opportunity for them, but everything has to go right.
Including this free needs to go over from Pádraig Costello, and he curls it in and over the bar. All the players on the goal line, goalkeeper Conor Gleeson and the umpires all shielding their eyes from the sun as Jason Leonard, beautiful as Conor Gleeson goes long. A little touch on from Shane McGrath, but that was well read by Dylan McHugh, and now Corofin can come again. Jason Leonard has got a man on the shoulder, and this is big trouble now for Dunmore. Patrick Egan straight through, but the hand pass is spun by Ian. Back at the ball is worked out from Liam Silk to Jason Leonard. A little hitch kick inside as the ball is replayed back to Lundy. Over the bar it is to Conor Cunningham. Quick hand pass inside to Patrick Egan, trying to get it off the right. A little nudge as he shot. Did he curl it back? He did. A beautiful strides it out, and then has the right hand wavering to decide what direction to play the hand pass. Here's a beautiful curling effort. That is an absolutely big fixture coming up as we watch Shane McGrath look to curl one in beautifully over the bar. That is
well done.
Class. He was in the square. Now can Dunmore switch it around at the other end and get a score? Yes, they can. Excellent point from Pádraig Costello, who's a pretty imposing figure between the posts for Dunmore MacHales. Silk against Gleeson, cool as you like.
All the time there's a man coming off the shoulder. And there we go, kicked over the bar, absolutely huge. This man is coming off now is a man that hasn't played at all year. And but in the last 2 years, he's been so effective for them.
Pop at the posts here, so Corofin know they can line up a 2-point shot. In the end, they keep it going. They've got a man on the shoulder as well, but in the end, Corofin do get their point. Normal time. Here's Pádraig Costello then. Right footed, gets good contact on it. Up and over the bar, 2-point and all. Well, referee not giving the free out. Ball worked across. Is there a shot coming in here? Over the bar. Nice. Finally, just to stop Corofin getting a goal at that end. Back out the field it goes, and the shot is out to the right hand side, off the post and over the bar. Through to the semi-finals of the championship, and might just finish with an all-important 20th point, which is drilled up and over the bar by Dara Silk. Welcome back pitch side here in Tuam Stadium in the aftermath of Corofin's win over Dunmore MacHales. I suppose no better man to talk to than the guy who would have been in charge of Dunmore for the last couple of seasons, now manager of Corofin, Gary Delaney. Was that a bit easier, Gary, than you thought beforehand?
Yeah, it was. I was definitely worried during the week. I know the threats that Dunmore can bring. I know the pace they have. I know the calibre of player they have. And I just don't think they got to the pitch of the game at the start. The quick chat with Dennis there, and so he was very disappointed with the start of the game. And then they were chasing, and then we just kind of clipped on a couple of scores and made it look a bit easier than it was, I think, you know.
Yeah, I know it's second nature to you guys in Corofin being involved in senior championship quarterfinals and the latter stages, but was there a sense of maybe the occasion getting the better of Corofin early on, or how important are those first few minutes in a game like that?
Yeah, I think they're very important with the way the new rules are, you know, that you get a good start and you keep the momentum going, and if you can control the momentum in games, I think you're in a good place, you know. But that's the big thing, you know. We were even 8 points up at half time or whatever it was, and like we knew Dunmore were going to come at us a base, and you know, so it was all about controlling the next 15 minutes, and I think we did that really well in the start of the second half.
And that you did. You had a number of players out there who performed exceptionally well, but for Patrick Egan, having him back now at the business end of the championship, how big is that?
Yeah, no, it's great. And he was struggling during the week with a hamstring injury, and he got 45 minutes under the belt, so that's good, you know. And like, you look at the bench that we have, like, it's unbelievable, like, you know, really is. Like, Mike Farrer, Brian Cogger, Keane Murphy, Ross Cohn, Bernie Cohn, Tony Gill. It's mental, like, it's absolutely mental, and all these lads are chomping the bit, and they're not going to be happy this evening, and we're in the county semi-final, and they're not going to be happy because they're not playing, you know. So we just need to keep that. We need to keep them, you know, keep them ticking over, and keep them motivated as they run past me here, you know. So look, that has to be self-driven, has to be player-driven as well, you know, and they can have no qualms. The guys, the 15 guys that started, they made a pact to prove that they deserve the starting jersey, and I think they did after the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you know. Today.
Defensively again, you know, kept a clean sheet. You did really, really well back there. Put 220 on the board as well. So there wasn't a whole pile really that you can look back on this and be overly critical, or was there?
No, I don't think there was. Maybe a couple of kickouts here and there, but you know, we'll analyse it during the week, and we'll see who we get in the draw later on, and so we'll work from there then, you know.
That is key now, isn't it? Because obviously you're stacking up with the big guns now for the last four. The draw coming up in a couple of hours' time. Here in Tuam Stadium, you were very much the stronger of the two teams when you met Salt and Loughnacara last year in the semi-finals. Is there anybody you're hoping to avoid or miss, or is this stage of the championship it's who you get?
It is what it is. It's whoever you get, you know. Both the three teams that come through will bring their own different dynamics, you know. And you speak about Salt Hill last year, you know, you get Salt Hill again this year. You know, they're going to be a different animal. Like, they're going to be hurting from last year. And then you have the new rules, which is a whole game changer as well. You know, so it's a big difference, and you know, you have to take everything into account. Like, you know, so it's.
For now, congratulations, Gary. You're into the semi-finals. This is Gary Delaney, the Corofin manager, and he's got a couple of his young supporters and family with him here as well. Who have we got here, Gar?
That's my son Lachlan, and that's Alan's O'Donovan's son Connor. Good friends growing up, good Man United and Liverpool supporters. So it's all good. Well
done, lads. Well, there's the future of Corofin. Here's very much the present. Gary Delaney, the manager of Corofin. We'll let you back into the dressing room with the lads. So there you have it. Corofin, many people still the side that have to be beaten to try and wrest back the Frank Fox Cup. They're into the semi-finals of the championship. Who they'll play, we'll find out after 6 o'clock.
Has been handed in here to the public address box.